Well, good afternoon and welcome to our Lunch and Learn here on the 7th of June with myself and Gary Beggan. Gary, it's great to have you with us. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. We're going to be learning all about martial arts this afternoon and how it can help with the body, the mind, and work-life balance, aren't we?
That's correct, yes.
Great. We're looking forward to hearing all about that in a few minutes' time. Just before we get stuck into that conversation, if this is your first time with us today, you may be listening to us on the Zoom platform. I see we've got some participants logged in already, or you may well be listening to us on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Whatever platform you're using, social media, please do send any questions through to either Gary or myself, and we'll make sure we answer those as much as we can. If for any reason we can't answer your question during the live webinar, we'll make sure we reach out to you afterwards. Also, we'd love to know how far we're reaching. I think since the beginning of lockdown, Gary, we've been over to Canada, into Europe, but generally we are Action Coach Birmingham, but we'd just love to know a bit of internal competition, see how far we're getting this afternoon. So do tell us where you're listening to us from, and ask us any questions and give us a like if it's your first time. If you come back for more, then give us the love. That would really help with the algorithm for Action Coach Birmingham on Facebook and LinkedIn. But anyway, Gary, it's good to have you with us. Tell us a bit about what you do at Ruark Karate.
Okay, so we predominantly teach Shotokan Karate across the West Midlands. We have 15 clubs dotted across the whole of the area, from Stourbridge and Hagley in the west over to Stratford-upon-Avon and Kenilworth in the east, and from Tamworth and Lichfield soon down to Bromsgrove, Birmingham, all around Solihull. And we teach out of sports centres, teaching children from the age of 4 up to our oldest student at the moment, Mike, who's 78. So
wow, so from 4 to 78. Now, talking of ages, Gary, I know you're probably still in your 30s, but from what age did you first find out your passion for karate yourself? How long have you been doing it?
I was in my teens.
In your teens, right? Okay.
In the 70s.
Right, and what was it? Can you remember what really attracted you to martial arts in particular, or karate in particular?
Yeah, back then we only had black and white TV, so there wasn't much.
You remind me of my grandmother, who used to try and watch snooker, and she always used to say, "Well, how do you know you're going for the red ball or the blue ball?" And but was there something that you could have gone and done all sorts of outdoor activities, all sorts of clubs, activities, or just played hanging in the trees? What was it about karate?
Well, I wanted to do something sporty. I enjoyed taking part in sport rather than actually watching it as much. And I didn't like team sports particularly very well. So tended to either do swimming, so swimming, school galas, that sort of thing. But it was the films that we were seeing of the time, Bruce Lee and David Carradine, that sort of thing, that sort of sparked my interest in martial arts. And it was something that could actually work at my own pace, develop my own skills, and was totally responsible for my own development, as it were, just being guided by the instructors. It was sort of mystical at the time, and it was inspiring to try and see if we could do what they were doing on the telly, etc. So,
and is it fair to say it's a sport? Is it an Olympic sport? I should know, but
it's an Olympic sport. Yes, it's in the Olympics this year. Brilliant. It's in the Youth Olympics. Every time it's actually in that, and it's in the Commonwealth Games. And in the true definition of a sport, yes, it's a sport.
Yes.
Everything else is a game. Yeah. Because the definition of sport is that the quarry could end up being maimed or killed. So fishing, shooting, etc. Yeah. Anything is a game. So yes, it is a sport in that respect.
So it is a sport, and is it fair to say that, obviously I've not done it myself, but it's something you can either, as you've just described, you can do it very much, at your own pace. You can, it can be, I wouldn't say solitary, but you can say you can do on your own, but also very much, in competitions, and it can be very socializing as well with, meetups, etc.
Yeah, well, so some of the friends that I had at school are still my friends, and they've been training karate with me. The instructors that we have in our group of clubs, etc., we've been training together for over 30 years and teaching together. And it is just one massive community that we have that's growing.
So 20 years have passed since you started at 17. And but you've taken that step that many of our clients and many people I know and work with have done, have taken a passion and soon they've come to learn to love, or they've loved from a young age, and they've built a business around it.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that. So what stage did you take your hobby and your interest and turn it into a business, Gary?
That's a good question. I was corporate there, and working life as a fraud investigations manager. Got made redundant, and decided that 9 to 5 wasn't really suiting my ability to live a life I wanted. So decided to put more into turning the hobby, which we'd always done, into more of a business, and then realised that having taken all that on, I merely got promoted to paying all the bills. So I had to start learning about all of the different aspects of marketing, of websites, of email campaigns, of all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was driven as well by the changing environment in the sports centres, because they were all being managed now by private companies who were putting up barriers to stop people just wandering in, as they did under local authority control. And as you know, with the lack of footfall, you get a lack of opportunity.
Yeah. Is it fair to say that was a stage at which you probably, I mean, it sounds like you had a business, but it was a case of, as we talk here at Action Coach, of turning it into a commercial, profitable enterprise, not just having an enterprise. Yeah. And is it fair to say that's the point at which you probably stepped most out of your comfort zone, when you sort of started to take it more seriously as a business, or turn it into a...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And having to spend money on adverts in Facebook, etc., and other platforms, without seeing really a return that I'd wanted, began to sort of grate a little bit, because we've done the adverts, we've done leaflet drops, we've done press releases, that sort of thing. But what we found was that the biggest advert for us was our classes that were being seen by the general public that were walking into the place.
Right. So having really visible locations was a great selling point for you. And I guess so I shouldn't guess, but I'm presuming in your industry, in your sort of field, that word of mouth is something that's really works well, does it? In terms of your existing clients and people talking about what you do and how, what it means to them.
Yes, absolutely. And we get quite a good group of referrals from the testimonials that we receive. With the parents bringing the children and seeing a massive change in their behaviour, after just a couple of weeks, and then becoming far more engaged. And we're helping out with schools now as well, where I'm going into schools to help out with the children again that don't want to get involved in team sports. It doesn't excite them enough. Whereas we're able to provide a karate class that meets their needs and is engaged.
I haven't really appreciated until you've shared that with us today, Gary, that it is, everyone's got their own needs and everyone has their own preference in terms of how they train or how sports they engage with. And there are those who love golf, and there are those who love, I've got two examples here actually on the screen. We've got Tiger Woods there. I hope he's making a good recovery, but very much a solo skills sport. It's not a team sport in the same sense as rugby, for example, with Eddie Jones on the screen. And the reason I just brought this slide up, Gary, is whenever I talk to people about what we do here at Action Coach, I describe it a bit like any great sports personality in terms of what you do is a great example as well. To be the very best at what you do in your chosen sport, you need to be coached, you need to be held accountable. And that's what Eddie Jones on the screen there does. He doesn't teach the rugby team how to play rugby. He's there to hold them to account, to give them that support, to take the learning points and make sure that every time they sort of head towards a game or a match, that they are there playing at their very best and learning, being held to account. And the same with Tiger Woods as well. He says, you can never, however tough you think you are, you can't do it on your own. I just want, the reason I had that, Gary, was just to share that with you and think, well, how does that apply, and what do you think you could take from that, or is that, what similarities are there from what I've said there in terms of what you do with karate? Well,
obviously, kicking and punching and teaching others to kick and punch is what we do. That's our bread and butter. But as I said, wearing these multiple hats, etc., that you have to do as an SME, I realised that you can't do it on your own. You have to have a team around you. Part of that team involves using people to do my social media posting. Part of it involves becoming a member of BNI and using the team there to help promote my organisation, and also obviously joining Action Coach and having that accountability every week. You phone me, Steve. Not that I'm complaining about it at all, but
Indeed. But yes, I'm thinking, but if somebody was to just try learning karate at home, they're not going to be able to get to do anywhere near as good as they could be by coming along and working with an organization like yourselves, or any sports actually, being held to account and being coached and supported and taught along the way.
Yes.
And I guess a lot of what people have been desperate to do over the last few weeks in particular is get back out into sports fields, back out into the gyms. And it's one thing, I think, it's not until you get things taken away from you, Gary, is it, that you realize how much you value those walks in the park, those socializing with friends and family, being out there with other people. And I guess sort of sports in its entirety has been, missed so much over the last 12 months. How has that impacted on your business in particular?
Well, we originally, after a 2-week break, when they went into first lockdown, pivoted and went straight online. And we kept the classes at the same time as our indoor classes to keep the routine going.
The point there, Gary, you make that sound as if it was so easy. Oh, we just pivoted and went online. Was it really that easy for you? Was it? I don't want to gloss over it, but how much of a challenge was it? And are you going to stay online?
We are going to stay online. Getting involved with Zoom, becoming comfortable in front of a camera. I can be comfortable in front of a class, but I've had to learn a complete new language when I'm teaching online. So it's, turn to your left, yes, towards the fireplace. No, not the window, the fireplace. Yeah. Change legs.
Challenge. Everyone's got their fireplace in a different place, or the window in a different place.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So the communication level has gone right up because you have to do that. And now I find I'm doing exactly the same thing in the class when I'm speaking to them. So towards the fire extinguisher, that sort of thing.
Yes, yeah. That can only be a good thing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So having pivoted and gone onto Zoom and kept the classes at the same time to keep the routine going, we then had some online competitions to keep the interest and etc. Obviously, we'd lost students because people didn't want to do Zoom. It was brand new at the time. School started getting on board. And once the kids started to understand how to use Zoom, I started, getting more students back again. But they cottoned on to very quickly. If they stand very still, people think that their camera is frozen. Okay, so I had a couple of students that would stand very, very still. I would see the curtains move and go, no, I've got, come on, let's do. So they did try to pull the wool over my eyes a few times. And then in the second lockdown, we had to go to doing karate classes, and we just put it on 7 days a week. And the uptake was fantastic. I even had students texting me on Christmas Day saying, we've got a session today, Sensei.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
so,
do you think there are people who would rather keep it on Zoom? Any clients who are sort of...
We have, yeah. A couple of the parents are still having to self-isolate even now and be very careful. So they're taking it easy, and the kids are just joining us on Zoom. And again, some of the parents are doing that as well.
Are there clients, or is there a marketplace out there for people who perhaps like to learn karate but want to do it in the privacy of their own home?
Yes, I think there is, and we will continue to do those classes and continue to promote them. We've had people join us from Europe, from Ireland, and from Brazil.
Really? Wow.
So, it's a massive world, really, for an opportunity.
So tell me a bit. I have to be completely honest here, as I always am, Gary. I don't know much about karate, but tell me a bit about the mental side of it. So the mindset. Is it a lot about minds? I mean, how much of that is part of the skill of being able to be great at karate?
Yeah, it's a massive piece of what it is to study karate. The meditation part, the visualization of it. When you're working through the different patterns, katas that you need to learn. We're very, very fortunate in that we have our own consultant clinical psychologist that trains with us, one of our black belts. And he recently said to us that karate helps one to be mindful in the moment. there is a meditative letting go, which helps the karateka to set aside any stresses or concerns. So that's an expert telling us how well, he enjoys training with us.
Yeah.
So if he's saying that, then, it works. And it's very, very cathartic, especially when you're doing the freestyle stuff and somebody's trying to punch you in the face. It really focuses your mind on what you need to be doing, which then gives you a release from everything else that's going on.
Yes, no, absolutely. We talk a lot again, there's so many similarities you wouldn't think there would be between business coaching and karate, but we talk a lot at Action Coach about, idealizing and visualizing the success you want to have in life, in your business, et cetera, et cetera. And it's about, sort of having that vision of where you want to be and what it is you want to achieve. Is so crucial. So in terms of that, so have you had a big uptake over the last 12 months in particular of people who have sort of wanted to come along to keep their mind active, to help them get through the tough times? Is there, have you seen an uptake in people who want it for the work-life balance?
A lot of that, yeah, and a lot of it is self-defense as well. But getting rid of the stresses and strains of the day and getting yourself fit. But it's one of those things that you don't have to be fit to start with, because you can get fit doing it. And you take it at your own pace. And we've seen a range of children join us, adults, teenagers, people that have been training before have come back into it now with their children. And we had a little bit of an uptake starting back in February, March. And then when we opened up in April, we've been getting referrals every single week through the door. So yeah, the classes are filling up again now.
And how have your customers coped with that change in terms of, have you had customers who've just come to you during lockdown and then you've not seen again? Or have you had customers who've really been able to take some learning from the karate skill set they've learned and use that to, just to improve their well-being generally?
Yeah, we've had some of the adults have given me feedback on the way it's helped them cope with the stresses of work-life balance, as you say, and giving them the confidence to apply for other jobs and achieve those, simply because of the mindfulness of training and the confidence it gives you. So it's really gratifying to see that.
Yeah, I'm reminded of this slide here, HMS Action Coach. I love HMS Action Coach, but again, I only share it because we talk a lot to our clients about making sure they spend 5 hours working on the business, not in the business. And as you know, Gav, because we've talked to you about it, working from being the captain on the bridge of your boat rather than being the captain in the engine room. The boat might be moving, but you don't know where it's going. You're not seeing the opportunities and the threats. In terms of, taking that time out for either relaxation or sports or doing something completely different, how often do you think that's important for to be, to actually take the skill forward? But what do you think in terms of hours a week spending doing something completely different outside of work?
Firstly, teaching karate and running it as a business is not work. I don't work a day in my life.
You see it very much as passion. It's great you've still got that passion there. Absolutely.
It's fantastic. I can't think of anything else I would rather be doing. One of the things about it is obviously the learning as well. You're having to learn all the time. You're having to keep upskilling in the various areas that are changing with legislation, with risk assessments, with marketing strategies and techniques, etc. So all of that is just fantastic, because when you study in karate or any martial art really, you start off by learning, and then you get the foundations there. Then you start setting yourself goals. Then you start getting the gradings. Then you set yourself another goal. So it's always that mindset that you've done, for years and years and years, and you're just continuing on into what you're doing as a passion or as work.
It's Susan just asking. It's a great question actually, Susan. So thank you for asking it. How have you managed to hold on to the passion that you have for karate, having turned it into a business? Because clearly that passion is still there, Gary. Yes. But when you say you don't work a day in your life, it's still, you still have that passion for it. When you're sitting at your computer at so it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon doing emails or sending invoices or creating Facebook adverts or creating welcome packs for your clients.
Yes.
How do you still see that as a passion for the hobby? I mean, Susan just said, how have you held on to that passion?
I it's a good question actually, because I struggled with this initially, because having started it as a business, it then became quite onerous, having to learn all this new stuff, and that was a steep learning curve. However, I suddenly realised that I like working in the business rather than on the business. So I employ people to do the marketing. I employ people to do the invoicing, all that sort of stuff, so that I can do the kicking and punching that I want to in the class, and get the benefits of the feedback from the students and their development, which is what makes it enjoyable, seeing them enjoy themselves. So yes, that was a tough one, because it was a case of, well, okay, I need to start paying out money on this, but initially it was quite tough. But as we grow, because I'm in there teaching and we've got other instructors in there teaching, we can put the passion into the teaching, which helps clubs grow.
It sounds like you've really, over the, I don't know whether it's the last 12 months or before that, you've really sort of evaluated what you enjoy doing in the business, what your, as I call it with my clients, skills and thrills. What is it you're skilled at and what is it you enjoy?
Yes.
So you can keep that balance of an oversight of the business, but also doing the bits of the business, as you say, teaching people to punch and throw, whatever it is. You still keep your hands in there. It's getting that balance right, though, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things, as I said, we're continually learning, and I'm doing a web design course at the moment. I've been doing photography courses and that sort of thing to help with the marketing, in as much as wanting to know how to do it, so that when I'm getting somebody else to do it, I know what they're actually doing for me, and I know where I'm getting the value for money, etc. So not necessarily that I'm going to be doing it all myself, because as you say, I want to be in there teaching. So the less time I'm spending doing admin, the more time I can do teaching.
I've got another question from Simon on a similar theme, but it's slightly different question. So Simon's saying, obviously you enjoy your business, you enjoy your passion of karate. How do you look after yourself mentally to get time away from the business and from karate altogether? Do you do that?
I do. I tend to go diving.
Okay, so you've got another passion, another sport alongside.
And I love taking photos. So one of the reasons why I enjoy driving around the countryside to the various centres that we've got is because you often see different landscapes, and I'll often stop the car and just get out and take a few photos before driving on, and then try and turn them into a marketing ploy later on. But yeah, it's always a different angle of this and seeing something in a different way. So I just enjoy doing that.
You sound a bit like me, Gary. Over the last few weeks, I've been doing 1-minute videos for social media. Yeah. And just out and about in the countryside or taking the dog for a walk. There's usually a business principle somewhere that I can I can use an analogy for, a situation where I've got an analogy for a business principle. But no, that's good. So thank you, Susan and Simon, for your questions, and do keep them coming in. Out of interest, Gary, as you pivoted the business during lockdown, and you talked about you're going to keep some of it online as we go back, but how did your customers? You said you lost a few. Was it? I think at one time you said to me you lost. Was it 80% or 60%? I can't remember the number now.
5% of our customers, yes.
How many? Sorry.
65%.
65% of your customers you lost at the beginning of the first lockdown.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel? I mean, how were you feeling at that point in terms of your own mental health and your own motivation for the business? It must have been a really tough time.
Yes, it was. But I know we had a core of students that were keen to continue training, and that gave me the impetus. I think if this had happened a couple of years earlier, I don't think the club or the organisation would still be going. I don't think I would have handled it as well. But having the confidence in what we do and how we do it, and something that we've been doing, we've gone through 2 recessions so far. We've now seen off a pandemic, and we're coming out stronger. It's a case of, we could think, oh, we're a bit bulletproof with this, but we're not going to be complacent about it. We've got to keep changing. We've got to keep adapting. We've got to keep innovating. Yeah. So it's always getting engaged with different networking groups, different webinars, that sort of thing, to find out what's going on and see if we need to change and pivot again.
Yeah. And in terms of, you've had to move your business forward. You've said you've lost a lot of clients. You've built them back up again. I know you and I have been working together, but what was your support network looking like during lockdown, and what does it look like now?
Initially, it was me, and I had one person, one VA doing some a little bit of marketing for me, and then I ended up rejoining BNI. Ended up joining Action Coach, getting on 2 more people for work on social media, etc., and looking to expand that even further now, as we've discussed, with people making phone calls on our behalf, etc. So again, expanding the team to go even further.
And finding those people that you can delegate the jobs that you love to hate.
Yes.
Or hate to love, and so that you can really enjoy the work as much as.
Yes.
And yeah, absolutely. And where do you see the business going in the next sort of 12 months or more? We've got what are your plans?
We're hoping to open another club now in Lichfield. I'm going to sort that out tomorrow. So we're expanding there. The clubs are growing. I may end up having to take on extra room at 1 or 2 of them to accommodate. We'll be advertising the ones that have got capacity, and there's only 1 or 2 of those. And it's really just a case of opening up. We've got a program whereby we're teaching our teenagers, etc., to become instructors themselves. So we've got about 8 junior instructors on that, and it'll be taking them through the training that they need to do to succeed at that and help them start to open their own clubs.
Brilliant. I got a question here from Sonny, Gary. He's just asking about sort of working with business owners or people, sort of assume business owners, but in terms of lunchtime karate clubs and helping people to get out during their lunch breaks or in the middle of the day. Is that something you've looked into before? Is that an area of the business you've?
Yes. There's a couple of areas that I'll be looking at. One is obviously going into the schools and helping them out, which I'm already doing. Lunchtime sessions or sessions during the day for shift workers, etc. That'll be something that I'll be looking to do, and I will be speaking to a number of individuals about that. We can get the time in the centres. It's whether or not the students will come in. One of the things I'm going to be looking at is all the homeschooled individuals who were homeschooled before. So I'm speaking to a couple of individuals that have been homeschooled prior to the lockdown, etc., and they have their own organisation. So that's something that I'm going to be pushing forward to.
Brilliant. And I've got a question here from Joe. Forgive me, Joe, I don't know if it's male or female, Joe, but anyway, is asking a bit about the mindset. Have you got any tips you talked earlier on, Gary, about making, getting into that right mindset? I guess it's an important part of karate,
yes,
any martial arts. Have you got any sort of suggestions, tips, advice on helping people to get the right mindset when they're, sort of either facing a challenge, whether it's karate or in the business? Any sort of tips tips and tricks you apply in either in your business or in karate?
Yeah, well, in business as well as in karate.
I can just think there's probably a crossover there, isn't there? Yes.
There's always that one task, that one job, that one thing that you put to the back of the tray, or
that one frog, as we talk about, Gary, the one frog you need to eat.
Eat the thing and enjoy it and get on with the rest of it. Yeah, but start the day with a quick win.
Right.
Start the day with a quick win and then go, right, now we're on to something here. Yeah, let's keep going.
So motivate yourself by having that quick win first. And is that something you apply in karate as well? Is it, to do something in the beginning of the class to sort of
with the warm up, etc. Yeah, we have some things that we do. There's some educational games that we play, reaction type games that we play. And it just gets people in a good mood. They don't realise then how hard they're working. So if they're happy about it, they don't realise, and then at the end of the session, they can barely walk. So it's it works for me. So we've got a question here from Alex, who says, Gary, how do you find the time to do everything? Okay, because most people would find it a struggle.
There we go. Good one, Alex. Thank you for that.
It's right. I would love to give you an answer that says, I prioritize this, I prioritize that, and whatever. I don't. Okay. I don't. I have a structure of what I need to do, and I know where I'm going to be at a certain time, and I make sure that I get that done. And it's there are things that I have to do. So at home, I'll be researching different stuff for maybe putting together some drills, etc., for karate. If I'm out and about, if I'm driving anywhere of any distance, I'm going to be listening to Action Coach, or I'll be listening to another webinar, or I'll be going through my mind on what the drills, etc., are going to be for that particular class. So in that respect, time management, trying to get as much done as possible, is very, very useful. But it's a discipline you've got to try and get yourself into. It's really hard.
Yeah, I would completely agree with what you've said, Gary. It is about two things in my mind. One is about structure of the time in the week. So, sectioning time in your diary to do certain tasks. And we had Yannicka Ock was with us on Wednesday last week talking a bit about time management. And she was talking about how she's got a to-do list or a task list, but she actually then builds that into her diary.
Yes.
So in the week, so if she's got 10 tasks to do, she actually carves a time out in her diary to do that, rather than just having here's my diary and here's my task list, but combining the two. So
yeah, that could be a quick win.
Absolutely.
I want lists. I will write a list. And then I found that writing the list became a sort of a guilt trip then, because I'd sit at it and go, oh, I haven't done that yet. Yeah. So the one thing I found was I forgive myself for not having done it. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. Yeah. If it hasn't been done, it means it wasn't important enough to me. So
absolutely, yes. Always ask yourself, is something urgent and is it important? But my own coach said to me a number of years ago, Steve, look at your task list and ask yourself, is it going to make you any money in the business?
Yes.
And grade things A, B, C, D. It's definitely going to make you money. It may make you money. It probably won't make you any money, and it definitely won't make you any money in the business. And it's not that everything is necessarily money oriented, but it helps to give you a bit of a focus on the tasks you need to do. That if you need to speak to a client or sort of follow up a client, that's going to make you money in the business. But there are tasks that are not, and it's about prioritizing.
Yeah, you could look at it as whether or not it's meeting a business objective.
Absolutely.
It's not always about the money. It might be about building brand awareness.
Yes, yeah. It could be about retaining a client in some way. It could be about winning new clients, etc. So it's about it's not. I mean, money is the wrong phrase really, but is it going to grow the business tangibly? That's a question to ask, but it's a great question. Thank you, Alex. And I think it's on a similar lane, Alex, your question to the ones that Simon and Susan were asking earlier on about, where you've got to say it's a passion of yours, Gary, is making sure, and I guess that people are asking about how do you separate that time? How do you make sure you've got time out of the business when it is a hobby as well? And you've sort of alluded to that before, but it is so important to get that working week, that structure right, isn't it? So you have got time out, as you say, so you can go and go and enjoy your diving or other sports.
Yes. Yeah, now the water's warming up a bit. Yes, definitely.
So what comes next for you at Ruark Karate? Where do you see yourself going in the next 3 months, Gary?
Hopefully back to Japan, to train in Japan.
Wow, that'd be great.
After the Olympics, yeah.
Would it be getting out to the Olympics themselves, or?
No. The tickets for that have gone 2 years ago. They all sold out. All biometrically scanned and everything. So you've got no chance of getting out there to see that.
I guess they're probably half the numbers of spectators anyway in terms of COVID safety. Yes, yeah.
I'll be looking forward to watching it on the telly. And then we're going to start organising a competition indoors. We'll be looking at booking another trip to Hawaii to train out in Hawaii. And one of the things that we've done with Zoom is we've been able to hello, you there?
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Sorry. My curtains are twitching.
Yeah. We've been able to train with other instructors around the world. So we've made contact with people that we want to go and train with in person. So that's what we're planning for. And then a couple of the instructors said they want to go to Okinawa next year.
Right.
Train. So they're organising that. And I'm thinking, okay, so I've got no time left, but
so it sounds like you're waiting for travel restrictions to ease properly, so you can get out to get out to Japan, out to Asia, and sort of the home of martial arts.
Yeah.
And Hawaii sounds great as well. So, and in terms of the business, what are your business goals, Gary?
It's to get these instructors that we've got in development fully fledged and out in their own clubs. So that'll be growing the organisation.
And if we've got people listening to us today that are, they're struggling in terms of finding time to get out away from the business and do things different, to switch off, do you think martial arts can help with that?
Absolutely. Yes. We're a traditional martial arts, so traditional Shotokan karate gives you a lot of different disciplines to call upon, and there's a massive amount of learning involved.
Yeah.
So it's, don't get me wrong, we're not going to throw it at you in the first day, but you know, over the months, etc., you'll start to learn, and you'll start to develop, and you'll start to grow with it. There are other martial arts out there where it's, for instance, kickboxing, which is probably a tenth of what you need to learn for what we do.
Yeah.
So the beauty for me of Shotokan karate and the traditional martial arts is that you can immerse yourself in it. You can immerse yourself in the science of it and the culture of it, yeah, the history of it, as well as the actual physical part of
Yes,
it.
it's not just a sport. It's a
Yeah.
I was going to say a way of life, but it's more than just a sport. It's something you can really, get to immerse yourself in, is the word I'm looking for. Immerse yourself in as a way of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you alluded to earlier on, we haven't really touched on it today, but it's also the self-defense and that personal safety aspect as well.
Exactly. Yes. And we're finding that a lot at the moment with the children, especially coming in. The parents are worried about the children being at school and the bullies, etc. And we're able to help them and give them the confidence at whatever age, yeah, and wherever the bullies might come from, whether they're corporate or school or whatever, or neighbours, family, to actually cope with that and deal with it. And it's not just deal with it, physically, it's deal with it mentally and become resilient.
And Gary, I've not asked this before. Is it something you can do as family? Do families come along together?
Yeah, we are specialists in family training.
Wow,
we have children training with their fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers, and they become black belts and end up teaching with us.
Brilliant. So it's not just a sport where individuals can come out and get time out from their busy lives, from their business, but families can come together socially and do it together in the evening. So it sort of it meets the needs of so many different groups and society, doesn't it? And it's a great way to take time out of your business. And Gary, dare I ask, I'm looking at my own physique now, is it a sport where you have to come, sort of be able to, fully fit, and or can anybody of any physique really sort of start to take part?
It's for all abilities.
Yeah.
And whatever your fitness level, you can start doing karate.
Brilliant.
It has a cumulative effect. So the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
I'm sure.
And because it's you're always learning. Every session you go to, you're always learning. It's not like going to the gym where you get on a machine and you get off the machine, you get on another machine, you get off. That's really drudgery as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Yeah. But where you're in a class and you're learning, you're having to apply different techniques, and then each class is totally different to the last one. And it's just a vibrant atmosphere. So yeah, and you get to scream your head off when restrictions are lifted, and we can start doing our ki again. Yeah.
I'm sure, like any sport, the first few times you do it, you're going to be using muscles you perhaps didn't know existed in the past, and it's going to be stretching new muscles and stretching your body in different ways, but it's something you'll get used to. But I love the idea that you can come together as a family, you can do it on your own, kids can do it, or elderly can do it, as you said earlier on, 4 to 78, I think, wasn't it? But most of all, I think what I love is it's something you can do where you can be held to account, as we do with business owners. You can do with those who come along. You feel you've got something to work alongside with other people, but you're not part of it's not that competitive team edge to it. So I think it's great, Gary. I think it's really important that whether it's karate or whatever it is we do as business owners, as senior managers, whatever we do in life, it's important to have that work-life balance and have that outlet for our mental health. So it's really, I'd encourage you, if you're thinking about it, to pick up the phone to Gary. I'll put his contact details on the screen there. Hopefully that's your right number, Gary.
Yes.
Pick up the phone to Gary, have a chat, and you'll gently give them the information they need, Gary, and sort of, encourage them to come along and find out if it's for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. We give 2 weeks free. We have a special introductory rate as well.
Even better.
Yeah. So it's £49.95, unlimited training for 2 months. You get a free suit and free mitts. You don't need anything else.
So did I hear that right? £49.95.
Yes.
You get all the kit you need to do it.
Yeah.
For 2 months.
Yeah.
Wow. What more could you want?
And our special guarantee is that when you sign up with us, your monthly training fee will never increase.
Wow. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening to us today and thinking, is karate for you? You've heard it from Gary, £50, including a mix, including not your black belt yet, but including a belt, everything you need, and 2 months worth of training.
Yeah.
And you can be held account by Gary and his colleagues to turn up and to get involved and to find out and immerse yourself if that's the right sport for you. What more could you want? And I would really encourage all of us, whether it's going out for a daily walk, whether it's going for a run. I went swimming at the weekend for the first time since lockdown. It's just great to go and do something different for our health, physical health, mental health, and to help us be the very best parents, grandparents, business owners. We need that balance in our life, don't we? And I think it's really, really important.
Absolutely.
Gary, I'm conscious of time. We'll probably wrap it up there. But if anybody wants to make contact, your contact details are on the screen. The website's on the screen. If there's anything you've heard on this Lunch and Learn with us at Action Coach, if you want to talk a bit more about your business more generally, we'd love to have that conversation with you. While I've got you, Gary, you've been an advocate of our 30X Growth Club, haven't you?
Yes.
I'm just going to mention that now. So we've got the 30 years of business experience in 30 videos, 90-day planning session, group coaching for just £30 a week, including VAT. So for £70 a week, so £80, get my maths right, for Gary's karate and your 30X, you could grow your mind with your karate and you could grow your business with Action Coach for just £80 a week. So it's, brilliant value there, and no contract. So give it a go. Give either one of us a go in terms of see if it's like, the right thing for you. But I just encourage you to pick up the phone and talk to either of us, whether it's about growing your business or whether it's about looking into karate. Do pick up the phone, have a conversation. We'd love just to tell you a bit more about what we can do and how we can work with you and work better together. Gary, just out of interest, how have you found the 30X program?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. As you say, you get these blinding flashes of the obvious, and you're thinking, well, yeah, okay, that's I need to put that into action, I need to put that into place. And you end up with a list of things that you need to do and you tick off, and that's what I've been doing. And it's steadily been growing the business, as you say.
I think whether it's karate or growing your business, those blinding flashes of the obvious, the hardest bit, dare I say, is taking that first step, isn't it, Gary?
Yes.
It's picking up the phone to speak to you, picking up the phone to speak to me, having that conversation about how we can work together, how we can support you in, sort of improving your fitness levels, improving your mindset, or indeed, dare I say, growing your business. So we'd love you to pick up the phone. Please do. Our contact details on the screen. On Wednesday, we are back with our Lunch and Learn with Kadaji Ramani talking about building customer loyalty. So we'd love to have that conversation and meet you on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. But until then, have a great week. It's lovely weather out there. So if you're sitting in the sunshine or sitting in the office or sitting at home, wherever you are, make the most of the week. And as Gary has said, eat the frog. Absolutely. Make sure you get those quick wins in this Monday so the rest of the week tastes even better. But for now, stay well, stay safe. Thank you, Gary, so much for joining us this Lunch and Learn.
Thank you.
And we will catch up with you on Wednesday at the same time. Take care now, everybody.
Bye now.